Hello and welcome back to the show. Now we're starting off this episode with Clare reviewing the new Suzuki V-Strom 1050 XT. Now Clare, no pressure, but when Nathan Millward and I reviewed the old 1000 and the 650, it was our highest viewed YouTube video ever.
Don't worry, I got told by Tom that if I didn't mention you guys that you would be super upset. So you're mentioned in it and I'm very excited to show you my thoughts on this. Let's have a look at the bike. In 2017, Graham stood right here alongside Nathan Millward to review the V-Strom 1000 and 650. And their conclusion was simple. They were great bikes with great engines, but they were lacking in personality. At the end of the day, the bikes didn't really get the attention they deserved because they were up against the mighty legends of the adventure world, the BMW GS, the Honda Africa Twin, and the KTM 1190. And at the time, buying an adventure bike that wasn't one of these three was almost unthinkable. In 2019, Suzuki only sold 1,213 V-Strom 1000s, compared to the almighty 15,879 sales of the BMW GS. However, things are now changing. Suzuki weren't just going to sit back and watch a bike they knew had a great engine go to waste. So last year, in 2020, it was time to give the Suzuki a facelift. And not the normal motorcycle facelift. They took it way more literally. The idea of a facelift isn't to give you a new face. It's to make your face look like it used to when you were at the top of your game. And so that's what Suzuki did. And this is what came of it, the Suzuki V-Strom 1050 XT. Back in 1988, Suzuki was entering the Dakar rally with this, the Suzuki DR 750S Big. And of course there was a street legal version too, and it looked almost identical to the Suzuki Dakar bike. This was back in the days when, if you won on the weekend, you would sell more on the Monday morning. Sadly though, the bike wasn't to win. The closest Suzuki ever got was third in the 1983 Dakar, with Frenchman Marc Genoux on the DR 500. However, the bike looked the part where others didn't, and it was one of the most iconic adventure bikes Suzuki has ever made, so of course it was well overdue to be revived. The looks are where the similarities stop though. This is an up-to-date beast, which, on paper at least, looks like a winner. But wait, despite the increase in the name from 1000 to 1050, the engine size hasn't actually changed. It's still 1037cc, but it's had some tweaks giving it an extra 7 brake horsepower at the top end. Not a lot you say, but don't forget, this was already a great engine that was simply underrated. There are some big changes on the electrical front too. The new ride-by-wire means that you get cruise control and hill hold as standard, which is great. It also comes with a load of other little bits and bobs with it too. But those are not going to be the deciding factor as to whether you're going to buy this bike or not. What is going to be the ride.
Okay, so let's start with first impression. It looks awesome. Hats off to the designer. I love the retro 80s style with a modern twist. Somehow that square light looks so 80s, but no one can mistake this for an old bike. It's a great bit of design, and that continues into the rest of the bike. One place I'm not sure about is the digital screen. I honestly can't tell if it looks retro or just cheap. And with so many bikes like the KTMs, Hondas and BMW now having awesome TFTs, this seems to be something that's lacking on the Suzuki. In fact, I think the whole bike is lacking something.
Right, I'm confused. This bike, it's designed to be the 80s Dakar rally bike, which is an aggressive bike. It's an exciting bike. And what I'm finding really, really difficult to understand is that when you get on it and ride it, it's not like that. It's this smooth, this gorgeous V-twin engine, and I just can't quite get my head around how different they are. You've got this aggressive styling and this soft and gentle ride. It just doesn't quite match up. And I'm not saying that either of that is bad. Both are good things. It's just really completely unexpected. And perhaps, I haven't given it its full day of riding. I've only been on it for half a day, so really, I think I do need to give it a little bit more time to decide exactly how I feel about it.
So, on the road, the bike works well. That adjustable screen does a great job of keeping wind noise down and buffeting low, even at high speeds. The seat was quite firm, but not uncomfortable, although that might be different after some real miles. On the road, it's nice and stable, and a pleasant place to be. I enjoyed the twisty roads, but a bit more low-down grunt would have been really nice. Although I didn't have the right tyres on, I did have a little play on some easy off-road, and straight away it was obvious that it really needed a 21-inch front wheel. 19 just doesn't cut it anymore, and I just don't understand why they bothered with such a great rally look and then make it so clearly, obviously road biased. A 21-inch front wheel would have made such a massive difference. At least with the XT, it comes with wire rims over the cast rims like the standard 1050. The XT version also comes with protection, with engine bars and the engine guard, which at least helps it look the part. Honestly, this bike is 90% road in my mind. The suspension is set up for road, and you can't even turn off the ABS. If you only ever want to play on some easy fire trails, then that's fine. Many people will just want this bike as a road-based adventure, and for that, it will do a stand-up job with its 20-litre tanks and high miles per gallon. Although, it might be a little boring with an engine that is surprisingly lackluster, considering the specs.
Having ridden this now for an entire day, I still haven't managed to make up an opinion as to how I really truly feel about this. The best way that I can kind of put it is it's a little bit like a salad. No matter what you put in it, croutons, bacon, whatever, at the end of the day, it's just a salad. It's not a nice salivating steak and chips, for example. And that's really what this is. It's a great looking bike. It's fun. But it's just not that kind of juiciness that you're expecting from it. And what's really interesting, if you take this bike and take a look at what's on the market at the moment, this is sitting here at 11,500. For an extra $1,500, you can get yourself an Africa Twin. Now for me, hands down, having ridden one, I would take the Africa Twin any day for an adventure. It's an amazing bike. But what's really interesting is that the KTM 890, you can pick that up for £500 less. And that bike, it just rides as if it's on rails. The weight is down low, which was different with this. This is up high, and it's just a fantastic all-round off-road and road bike. So really, at the end of the day, I'm not quite sure what more this can offer for an extra £500.
That bike looks gorgeous, and I really, really wanted you to like it.
I know, it's such a shame, and it's not a bad bike by any stretch of the imagination. It just kind of feels a bit dull.
Well, I'll tell you what isn't dull, part 4 of Tales from the Trails.
Yay!
With the prospect of Dartmoor wild camping weighing heavily on the still moaning Tom, we headed back to the airfield so Sam and Tom could have a go at driving the sidecar.
Looks like Sam needs to fill his boots with a little bit of off-roady. Yep.
Ready?
Okay.
Wow, that's an ominous start. Yeah, this is not fun. This is.
You see what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is. Try to see if I can get the wheel up.
No, Sam.
Got there and turn around again, and then we'll go back, and I'll tell you the technique for turning corners.
What? Praying?
It's hard work, though, isn't it? Okay. So this time,
All right.
as you start turning left, don't go into the corner quite so fast, but gentle throttle on through the corner. And see what difference it makes.
Right. Oh.
Can you tell just how much fun I've had riding this?
Oh, son of a!
So do your left, and then gentle throttle on as you go through the corner.
No.
Throttle, more. You feel pulling the bike round.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the technique. As you go a left-hander, it's throttle on,
Right.
and then as you do a right-hander, it's
Throttle off.
wind off the throttle or a bit of brake.
Oh, son of a gun. Right, let's get. Oh my God. I'm just glad I'm not one riding this, to be honest with you. That's a combination of terrifying and just painful. Because
Basically, it fights you. If you
exactly.
If you want to turn left, it wants to go straight on. And if you want to go right, it wants to go straight on. So that time I went around the corner, so if you can imagine, every single left-hand corner, you have to accelerate into the corner and round the corner. It's counterintuitive to everything you do on a motorbike, and it feels wrong all the time. That's why it took me 2 days to get used to riding it.
Next, it was Tom's turn, who, as always, had to turn it into a competition. Namely, could he stall the bike less times than Sam?
I didn't stall it like you. Oh, so just like now turn, is it?
Yeah.
I don't want to. Oh! Am I gonna die? This feels horrible. It's like completely alien.
That's actually really good.
If I feel like it's gonna tip up.
Go on, do it.
Oh my God, it's a real workout on the arms, isn't it? What about going the other way? I'm trying not to get you in tips.
So it's not that bad.
Bumpity bumpity bump.
It's not that bad. I don't know what you've been complaining about.
Sam, I'm doing 10 miles an hour.
Go on. Pow. Don't hit the car. Nice. Nice. He's a natural. Ah. Ooh, wait.
Just like to point out, at no point did I stall it. Like, someone.
That's all right. Do you know what? I'm really not bothered that I stalled this. At all.
It was time to move on with what I hoped was a higher level of appreciation in my sidecar outfit riding abilities. We headed to our overnight stay on Dartmoor, where the tents went up next to a random empty army tent. Something that's worth bearing in mind about wild camping on Dartmoor is that whilst strictly speaking it is the only place, to the best of my knowledge, in England that you can wild camp at legally. Obviously you can go to landowners and stuff as long as you've got their permission, but legally it's the only place in England and Wales that you can wild camp at. But the intention, as I understand it, is that's really for sort of very mobile travellers, so walkers, cyclists, hopefully motorcyclists. What they're trying to avoid, as happened in lockdown last summer, is just hordes of camper vans, motorhomes, etc., who don't really, or many of them don't think and respect kind of the environment in which they're staying. And that's when you get chemical toilets being emptied just by the side of the road and on the moor, lots of rubbish, etc. So I'd like to think we are entirely within the spirit of that, being very mobile travellers. Tom, you were just mentioning something.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
I probably should have waited till I finished my Skittles.
No, I think it's funny to try and talk through the Skittles.
I said that there's no wind, it's quite warm, it's a lovely area. I guess it's not that bad that we're camping.
Sam, was that his exact words?
Yeah.
I thought he said he quite liked camping now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what he said.
So, go on, say the words. I think I quite like camping tonight.
I think I might like camping tonight.
That was it. That's it. Well done, Tom.
Why did you want to touch me?
As the temperature plummeted, we all got our heads down early. But when we woke up in the morning, Tom really hadn't enjoyed the camping.
Like holy water, like sands on a bird, rain and a drought, it's all over now. When daylight comes.
So, are you ready?
Yeah.
So, Tom, how you feeling now? You still excited about camping?
Come on, Poppet, tell us.
Yeah.
I'm cold.
Really?
Yeah,
Doesn't look like it.
I'm really cold. I want to go to somewhere warm. I mean, I don't like camping at the best of times. Like, even in Africa when it's warm, I'm still not a big fan of being in a tent. But this is just ridiculous. I'm freezing.
It's not that bad, is it, Sam?
No. It's
No.
bloody lovely. Fresh air, beautiful scenery.
Exactly, look at the view.
Exactly. Good conversation. I mean, the whiskey helps, but you know.
Despite a night so cold that ice had formed on the outside and the inside of the tents, Sam and I just couldn't help but be happy having stayed in such a spectacular location for the night. And as the sun warmed us all up, even Tom perked up a little bit. And like a small child that had just got over a tantrum, he forgot all about it and made up a new game to play. As we headed to our next destination, we rode across the stunning roads of Dartmoor before heading into my old university town of Plymouth.
This is the street that used to have all the pubs on it. I think that was Boobs in there. Oh, you're going to get more history now. This street is called Union Street, and memories of it being the most rocking place. About 20 pubs down it. It's where the Navy guys and Marines used to come drinking. What's now a Quick Fit on the corner used to be a pub. That used to be a pub. I mean, it's very sad in some respects the way things change. But I guess it is the price of progress and all that. And wherever it is people go drinking now, it's not Union Street.
I started to get the sneaking suspicion that my History of Graham's Uni Days tour wasn't going down too well.
That's where I used to live, 3A, down there. Or was it 2A? No, 2A, next one. I used to live in 2A. 2A.
Hey Graham, guess what?
You're bored.
No one cares! No one cares!
I finally took the hint, and we moved on to our next stop, which was another airfield with a racetrack, but this was different, because this track was in use. Welcome to Smeethorpe Stadium. Okay, we have got an empty racetrack. We have the sidecar outfit on the start-finish line. It would be rude not to go and see who can do the fastest lap. So come on, let's go.
Three, two, one.
What? You can't say 3, 2, 1. You got to say 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my God. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh. Oh my. Oh, if you dump this bike, Tom, are you alright? 28.4.
I think that's a good time, to be fair.
Go! I've got to hope you stall it.
Do you brake into the corner?
Yeah, bit brake, you'll bring it round.
Yeah, this is... I'm not going fast in this. You could... No, don't feel safe, don't feel safe. No, no.
I can tell. Your time has been whooped.
God, that front wheel is fighting you. I can see it. Jesus Christ. Come on, Graham. Come on. Oh! Tom lost that one.
How did I lose? No, I didn't lose that one. I came second.
His third place, yes, Smith. And in second place, it's Mr. Thomas Woodrow. And in first place, it's me.
Oh, you're such
Wow.
a loser.
Wow.
You lost.
Yeah.
I'm now standing here with Crispin, who's the co-owner of Smethorpe Stadium. Crispin, just tell me a little bit about kind of the history, how you got involved with the stadium, and also kind of the racing that goes on here.
Okay, so Smethorpe's it's an old disused airfield, which goes back, has some pretty significant history going back to the D-Day landings. The stadium has been here since 1974. Myself and Andrew's are the co-owner. We've been in charge of running the racing here since 2000.
Right, that was a long time then.
Yeah, that's right, and we've done a lot of changes, and we're quite proud of what we've achieved so far. And at the moment, the circuit's enjoying a sort of a rise of popularity amongst drivers and spectators, and starting to become a place of prominence, which is good within the stock
And the circuit is stock cars and bangers.
Yeah, stock car racing, banger racing, and some non-contact rod racing as well.
Okay.
So it's several types of racing, but yeah, it's starting to become really popular, which is good.
And you've also got another circuit down in Cornwall, haven't you? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. We also we don't own that one, but we run that's at United Downs Raceway near Redruth, which has got a little bit of a problem at the moment because there's some developers that would like to take hold of the land and do something different, which would be a shame because that circuit's been there for 50 years as well. So it'd be a shame to see that one go.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you very much for letting us come on the circuit.
Not a problem. It's a delight to have you guys here, and hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, we have done. Thank you very much. After spending more time than we really had talking to race drivers and looking at their cars, it was time to head off again for our last night on the trip. Tomorrow we were going to tackle some real tet, and I had a surprise for the boys.
So we've had a great day here at Smethorpe Stadium, and now it's on to our next nightly stop, wherever that may be. It might be one of Graham's old haunts, who knows, but it should be fun.
It's probably going to be like, and this is where I had a student house. And this is where an ex-girlfriend lived.
Let me tell you the history of this place.
This is my room. Are you alright, Gray?
Yeah. I'm just chilling out back. Now it's my turn to talk about one of the riders who has inspired me the most, and it might not be who you expect.
Or it might be exactly who you expect, because you two have such a bromance.
Maybe a little bit. One of the most difficult questions I think I've ever had to answer on Adventure Bike TV has been to choose one person to talk about as a personal inspiration. And that's because the choice is so huge. There are so many people in the adventure motorbiking world that I have the deepest of respect for and who have inspired me in so many different ways. People like Elspeth Beard, Austin Vince, Sam Manicum, Graham Field, Lois Price, and so many others. And I've got to be straight up and say that if I hadn't watched Long Way Round with Charlie and Ewan, I wouldn't have taken the plunge and been to Moscow, which reignited my love of adventure riding. And there's so many more that I could mention, but I simply don't have the time to. So love and respect to all of you and to absolutely everybody who goes adventure motorbiking. However, I did have to settle on one person, and that one person is Nathan Millward. And I've chosen him because he makes a cracking cup of tea. Oh, stop mucking around about the tea, I hear you say. No, really, he does make a cracking cup of tea, but I also have some very, very genuine reasons for choosing him. I first met Nathan the year he came back from his amazing 9-month postie bike ride back from Sydney in Australia to London in the UK. He was presenting at a travel event where I was also speaking about my comparatively little 2-week adventures. Now, at these events, anyone who's been on a trip of any kind has an interesting tale to tell, but not everyone is a natural presenter, nor should we expect them to be. After all, it's their adventure that we're interested in. Nathan is among a select group of presenting adventurers who did engage me from the moment I started to listen to one of his talks. And the fact that I remember that particular time so clearly kind of demonstrates the point. Now, as I remember, I was leaving the marquee where everyone went to do their talks, and I just caught the start of his. I was hooked instantly, and I stayed and listened to the whole thing. And what made me stop, you may ask? Well, there was an honesty and straightforwardness about Nathan that immediately makes you warm to him. Watching the rest of the audience, they were caught up in exactly the same way. There was also a rather engaging naivety in how Nathan told his story. He managed to sound unrehearsed, probably because he was unrehearsed, and yet he was able to make sure you were caught up in the emotions of his adventure. There was absolutely no sign of, look what I did, see how brilliant I am, me, and so on. None whatsoever. So, you get the picture of the first impression. Nice guy, easy to listen to. But to get down to specifics, there are two very big reasons why I picked Nathan to talk about. The first is to do with his adventures, and the second is about what happened afterwards. So firstly, Nathan's noble steed for his original adventures was Dorothy. For anybody who doesn't know Dorothy, she is his 110cc Australian postie bike, which he rode back from Australia to London and then across the USA and Alaska. And by the way, Dorothy still resides with Nathan and actually has her own children's book and speed shop now, but more of that later. When I saw Nathan talking about his 9-month adventure with Dorothy, coming back from Australia to London, he really didn't pull any punches as he described his travels. There were almost too many to choose from, but I wanted to mention just a few. He talked about having lice in his hair, sleeping in ditches, and the challenge of riding solo and having no one to share either the highs or the lows with. Later, when I heard about his adventure as it progressed to the US and Alaska, he talked about getting by on a sub $5 budget, I think it was. In fact, it may even have been as low as a couple of dollars. And at every point, you just knew you were listening to someone who spoke from the heart. And whilst I admire every single person that takes off on an adventure, whether it be long, short, big bike, small bike, old or new, organised, group or solo, something in the telling of Nathan's story made it stand head and shoulders above similar adventures about travels on scooters. And it's not just me that thinks it. Everyone I know that has read his books feels the same way. A friend even said to me once that when she read about the girl that broke his heart in Oz and who kind of set the whole adventure thing off, she couldn't help falling in love with him just a little bit. But Nathan's amazing adventures on his motorbike are only part of the reason why I've picked him. The second part is what he's been able to do since he finished his original amazing adventures, although they do continue to this day. Making a living from being a motorbike adventurer, writer, and journalist is really tough. Most of the lovely people that I know who make the living from their adventures do so because they love it, not because it makes them rich. He has been a writer, magazine editor, and freelance journalist since his return from his adventures, but has also been very creative and entrepreneurial in developing his business, and that's the second reason I chose him. Nathan has written extensively about his adventures, and his books are eminently readable. Just the same as when you see him speaking live, you get a full and honest account of what it's like to travel so far by yourself. But he didn't stop there. He has now become as well known for his travel adventures that he takes others on as he has for his original books. What started off as a free, come and join me on your cheap motorcycles on an adventure in the UK type of trip, which he called the garbage run, has now become a bit of a phenomenon. The garbage runs now take adventurers across Europe, Australia, the United States, Ireland, the United Kingdom, and once we get past the COVID crisis, I think he intends to take them to Japan. He's worked hard and invested deeply in his workshop site down in Devon, which apparently he's given to his noble steed, as it's now called Dorothy's Speed Shop. From Dorothy's Speed Shop, he has a fleet of postie bike clones and other adventure machines for people to come visit and ride with him. Look, this isn't an advert for his developing business. Nathan has managed to take his adventures and his books and use them as a starting point for an entirely different business model when other business activities he was working on just didn't quite work out the way he wanted. And as a bit of an entrepreneurial type myself, that earns my deepest respect. And he really does make a fantastic cup of tea.
Now it's time for me to tell you a story, which is all about me trying to fulfill a dream I had since I was a little kid. let me tell you a little story. It's 1986, I'm 9 years old, soon to be 10, which of course is very important when you're a 9-year-old. I'm minding my own business playing with my toy cars on the floor of the living room, when my dad switches the channel over to watch the news, and something catches my eye. The news reporter is talking about the incredibly sad death of Thierry Sabine and 4 others in a helicopter crash. At the time, I had no idea who he was or what the Paris-Dakar rally was. And as they spoke about how the organizer of this amazing event had died, I was looking at the screen in awe. The footage showed the most incredible sight I had ever seen. You had cars, bikes, and lorries racing over immense sand dunes at incredible speed. But it was the bikes. The bikes were something else. I couldn't imagine how the rider could stay on the bike when it moved like a bull being ridden by a cowboy. The news story finished, and the newsreader went on to other stories, but that stayed with me, and to this day I dream of racing rally bikes. So, that's what I'm going to do. Sadly, not the Dakar. That is crazy expensive, but a rally for sure. Honestly, at this point, I don't know which one. As of course with COVID, we have no idea which will run and which won't. And that's okay, because realistically, I need quite a while to get ready. So this year will all be about preparation, and we are going to do it properly. So, right now, we have a few things to concentrate on, and most of it is me. Rallies are unique, both physically and mentally. You can have the most perfect bike setup in the world, but that won't help you finish a rally. Rallies tax your brain in so many ways that very few other sports do. You have to drive at high speed, and of course top riders ride at over 100 miles an hour, over rough, sandy terrain, all while navigating using a bit of paper you manually have to change, the dreaded roadbook. So I need to learn to use these properly. But to do that, I need to do some work on my bike. Before we can even attempt the roadbook training, the one thing we do need is a roadbook. This bike, unfortunately, does not have one. So we need one on here. And to put one on here, we need a rally tower. And to put a rally tower on, we're going to need new fairings. So the first thing we need to do, get rid of these old ones and stick on the new ones. And the new ones are done by Aurora Rally Equipment, and they are gorgeous. So, let's hop to it. So, as you can see, the bike is finished. We got the front fairing, the tower, and of course, the road book. The only things left to do are to spoon on these Dunlop 908s, and then we're done. Now it's time for some road book training. I'm here at Sweet Lamb Adventure Bike Academy to do exactly that. I'm lucky enough to have one of the instructors, Rob, here to show me how to do it. So Rob, tell me a little bit about what's going to be happening today.
Okay, we've got a great day for you, Sam. We're going to do a little bit of theory. We've got a couple of road books that we do on-site and off-site to teach you how it all works, where you might go wrong, and how to learn from that and get you ready to get started in the rally scene.
Okay, fantastic. Well, time to go to school. Our day started in the classroom, where I immediately realised there was a hell of a lot more to reading road books than I originally thought. And it really started to dawn on me how hard it must be to ride at speed while taking in such huge amounts of information.
I had no idea how my brain would be able to interpret the mixture of numbers, arrows, symbols and coordinates, all the while looking at the road ahead. And not only that, trying to ride off-road and ride fast.
So over to you this time, Sam. Okay. Tell me what's going on in this next one.
Okay, so you've got 27.19 kilometres to the end. It's 43. Sorry, you read that first. So it's 190 metres to the next waypoint. It looks like you're coming off a main road onto a track. And there's a step off. Now, potentially it could be a step off from the main road onto the track. Those symbols, it looks either like a cattle grid or a train track.
Then I got my hands on the real road book, and after getting the highlighters out and marking up all the most important parts, I started to realise I was getting slightly nervous.
Lot to think about here. Yeah, to say I'm nervous is a bit of an understatement. So yeah, let's see how we get on.
So then it was out to the bikes, and after getting the road book on its reel, giving the automatic feeder a test, it was time to ride. The idea is that we would follow a route, and I would stop at each intersection, go through the road book and see how I interpreted it. Before a ride I would lead in the afternoon. However, as we rode to the start point of the road book, my first problem of the day appeared.
On the first excursion with the 990 with my road book training. This should be interesting. Yeah. Oh.
As you can see, when I was riding to the start point, my IMO wasn't recording any distances. But that wasn't going to stop us. Rob lent me a phone with an IMO app on it, and after it was strapped to my dials, we started the route.
So this is going to be interesting. I feel like I'm going to have to be like one of those Apache pilots where one eye looks at one thing and the other eye has to look where they're going. So
I was surprised how quickly each waypoint would arrive, how the shortest of looks down at the roadbook meant you would miss something important. It was a real mind overload.
Okay, well, so here you have, so that's the 300 meters there. I presume, he says he presumes, if we scroll it on. So that back there, that turning was that one there, wasn't it? So we're here now, so that is here. It's all about now learning what those symbols mean, because without that you'll probably be looking for something completely different. Okay, so here we go. So we got 134 here. That one was 134, so spot on. So yeah. So we're heading left. Oh, there we go.
Then things seemed to get worse quite quickly. It was a mistake after wrong turn. And I won't lie, it was putting me in my place. I have to admit, I went into this fairly cocky. I'd ridden rallies before. I mean, how much harder can reading a road book while riding be? Well, a lot harder as it turns out. I know this road book was intentionally hard, so I knew I'd make mistakes, but I could learn from them. But then I dropped my bike.
Well, there we are, first off.
It was a silly thing, but it frustrated me.
Yeah, There we go. Woo! No, didn't see it. Right, thank you very much. Here we go. There we go. Woo! And there's your problem with a big old bike. First off in a long time. Right.
And then more bad news. Some people may say this is probably not the most successful trip out, but I say it's all part of the adventure. As you can see, my bike's missing a rear wheel, and that's because halfway round the course it decided to catch a flat. Well, I say flat, the actual tube ripped away from the valve. So yeah, we're changing this.
So was that due to incompetence or?
No, it's just over enthusiasm with the throttle, I think is the word I would use. Yeah. This is one inner tube, but one inner tube minus the valve. So kids, remember, when you have a valve and you spin up the rear tyre, just check that you haven't done that.
So, have you got your valve core tool? Okay, so you step this way.
Right.
Is this a bit humiliating, Sam?
No, you live and learn. It's all part of the learning process.
Should be on every tyre valve on your bike. Don't get a plastic one there, Robbie.
So normally having a flat tyre is not a big issue, but what's happened to me today is actually a bit humbling, because if you're on a rally and you don't have the right tools, that's it, you're out. And today I did not have the right tools. I knew I was coming down here and I knew that here at Sweet Lamb they'd have tools, but really I should be carrying it all the time. So yeah, more fool me. So you learn something every day. So I hope you take away what you will from that. So after the puncture was fixed, and if I'm honest, fixed a second time as I pinched the inner tube on my first attempt, it was back to the riding. And as the day drew to a close, I finally started to feel it coming together. I started to take in what was most important, the distances, then the map, and the symbols. They all seemed to just get caught in the periphery of my vision, and my brain started absorbing the information almost subconsciously. Don't get me wrong, I was no savant, but I did get a glimpse into how it must be for the people that really know what they're doing, and after that my confidence started to return.
Well done. Good nav, man.
Yeah. Well, that was, yeah, a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. What with everything that has gone wrong, what with the tyre, the IMO, I mean, realistically, you know, this is all the stuff that you have to think about and potentially you don't think about when you come to do something like this. So it is a massive learning curve. So yeah, thanks to Rob. I mean, he got us through it. Well, got me through it. He's all right.
Not done yet, though.
So no, we're not done yet. We have now got to go left along here. And, well, what have we got? We got 630 metres.
That's it, just a little bit. So
Yeah.
we're at 5078, so yeah, 630 metres. There's a bit of a funny junction.
Yeah, so what, we put in 78 there, didn't it? 5178.
Yeah, just got a little bit out, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. And now we're ready to rock. Onwards and upwards.
Right, it's the end of the day, and as you can tell, people are packing up, bikes are being washed, and now I have to think about what I take away from today. And that is that reading a road book is a hell of a lot more difficult than I ever imagined. Everything from learning symbols to distances is incredibly difficult, especially when you're riding the bike. And I cannot imagine doing that at high speed in a race. So I have a little bit more, what shall I say, learning to do. And not only that, more importantly, having the right kit with you. This is something I have learnt the hard way. I had a puncture for the first time probably in years, and I didn't have the right kit with me. And in a race, that could mean game over. So, am I going to do a rally next week? Probably not. Definitely not. It may be weeks, it may be months, maybe years. I need to be 100% sure of what I'm doing. So, there we go. A fantastic, fantastic day here at Sweet Lamb. And let's see how we get on.
Got to be straight with you, Sam. I think that bike looks super cool.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but there is still a lot to do to it, and I'm far, far, far away from being rally ready.
Oh, I don't know. I think you will get there, but I bet you that road book is just going to take so much practice to get used to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I've got to do to it, and basically there's a whole new swathe of digital bits and bobs coming into the rally scene, so by the time I get there, it'll all change anyway.
Anyway, on that happy and future-looking note, you will get there, buddy. You will get there. Anyway, right, it's time to finish. Stay safe, everybody, and we will see you next time.